Fox. For the best in underground R&B hip hop.
All hail to the queen, yeah. You know the team, yeah.
Push number 48.
Right.
And don't be late.
And don't be late, as Madam Register has creatively put together. Everybody has their slogan.
Yes.
And I'm interested to hear some of the slogans or some of the information that's out there on people now. As we know, as I said, there's an election coming up, and this queen who has joined us today, she is elected by the city of Philadelphia in great number, might I add.
250,000 votes.
The current and elected Madam Register of Wills.
And clerk of orphans court. So
Oh.
thank you. I have a long title.
Shim.
People don't understand that I am the Registrar of Wills and the clerk of orphans court.
Okay, and that is very important for a lot of reasons, but most importantly, she is elected to this office currently. And by doing so, she, of course, again, broke records, being the first black Madam Register of Wills.
First woman
In
Philadelphia.
in Philadelphia's history. So that is a big deal,
All white men.
It's
A change has come. Solutions, and one of the solutions is education.
Yes.
And when I walk and campaign, when I'm going around campaigning,
Yes.
you know what people say?
What's that?
Yeah, you're the lady that's be teaching.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one. They know me as an educator, and that's all I did. Because my grandmother said, when people know better, they do better.
Yes, if you knew better, you do better. So that's why we want to get you to get to know your current elected officials, which is Tracy Gordon here, Register of Wills, Madam Register of Wills. And she is running for re-election. What's your button number?
My button number is 48, and don't be late to push first button. You know, first 48, the first button you push 48, and don't be late with it. Well, I need you all to come out and number, because I am not finished with educating you all on how to protect your property. We have 11,000 tangle titles, and guess what areas they in?
Mm-hmm.
North Philly,
Yes.
West Philly,
Yes.
Southwest Philly, Lower Northeast, and Germantown. Guess who lives in those areas?
People.
Black and brown people.
Really?
They are at risk of losing their homes, going to the sheriff's cell, or just losing a home because they don't own the home, because the home is still in a dead person.
Right, and we have to learn how to protect our generational wealth. And one thing that I was thinking in regards to why they've taken civics out of education, especially around here in black and brown schools, is because knowledge is power. Now, if I know that I can go and, become an elected official, and I know when to go vote, I know what it takes, I know what a petition is, I can prepare myself for what a term is and what a policy is and why these things should be important for me to change and want to engage. If I have the knowledge, I have the power, there'll be many, many more black and brown young people running for office.
But the law says ignorance is not an excuse.
It's not an excuse.
And listen, I'm going to tell you this. I beg to differ, because you all pay my taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my salary from the taxes.
Right.
I think that I have not only an obligation, but I have a duty. I have a civic duty to make sure that you understand my role as your duly elected official. I have a duty to make sure when you come to my office, people treat you with dignity.
Yes.
People treat you with respect. People help you the best that they can. We are not legal advisors, but we help people enough that it's simplified enough that if it's just like, for instance, your mother just died.
Right.
That is just two brothers and sisters. We teach you how to do a pro se, so you don't have to hire an attorney. Now, sometimes you may come in and you can say, this was my great grandmother. They want to make it seem like we're all criminals, elected officials are criminals. They don't come and ask about the policies, all these different policies that I've implemented. But what I will say is this. January 2020, I took my oath of office. 3 weeks later, the entire government shut down. The entire government. Right. Everybody went home. City Hall was like ghost town. Center City was ghost town. And I was sitting at and I said, listen, I knew people were dying. So when people are dying, they have to come and get the necessary paperwork so they can continue the business of the deceased, right? And at the time, We didn't know what was happening. So people that was in partnerships or waiting to get married or whatever like that, they couldn't get married. It's like, and people were getting nervous because we were telling essential workers, police, firefighters, ambulance, that postal workers, that irregardless that y'all could be safe in your houses, waiting it out. Certain city, state, and federal workers had to come to work every day. So I said, listen, if I don't do something, I know they're going to say, see, she didn't qualify, she didn't deserve this job, she don't know what she's doing. So I said, what would Fannie Lou Hamer say? What would she do? And I always reference her because I've known she was a real warrior at her time. And she fought for her people and our people. She said, you can pray until you faint. But if you don't get up and do something, God ain't going to put it on your lap.
You gotta work for it.
And 3 weeks later, our office was open. We were the only office in the country, I repeat, the country that was issuing marriage licenses. Look at that in the New York Times. We was the only office in the country, in the first, that were probating the states.
Yes, welcome family, welcome to A Moment with Purple. Yes, we are live all over your aux, baby, and you know what it is. I am Saj the Purple Blackwell, your host for today on our amazing interview series, Why Vote, Why Now, and not now, but right now, okay? I'm just adding that to the spiel there. And of course, we know the election day is May 16th, and we have one of our friends, one of our guests, to talk about Election Day with us and the importance of Election Day. Welcome our friend, Council Member Jimmy Harity.
Thank you, Purple. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show. Now, listen, just so you know, while we're on air, Purple is always multitasking. So when she's looking down, it does not mean she's not paying attention to you, but she is in the mix. So tell us tell us currently you are a council member. Yep. And you're running. Why do you have to run again? What are you running for? Let us know. Talk to us.
Well, I live in the Kensington section of the city at G and Allegheny, and I was there and noticing that things just kept getting worse. Nobody was actually fighting for the kids or the seniors in my neighborhood. They spent more time worrying about the homeless addicted population in the area than they actually did about the residents who live there. And coming from recovery, I know full well what's going on down there, and I have a little bit of a different spin. We definitely have to show these addicts show them that somebody loves them, but it's going to be tough love. They need a regimented thing when they first get sober. We need to stay away from people, places, and things and stuff like that. Little cliches that they say, but it really is the truth. So I seen that there was a need for somebody to step up, and I went to Senator Street, and I was kind of bitching to him about what was going on.
Okay.
And he turned around and looked at me and said, well, I guess you know what you got to do then. I guess you're going to run.
Okay.
And, I'd never really thought about that before. I was perfectly happy being the person behind the person. I mean, I was Senator Street's chief of staff, and most recently the political director of the state of Pennsylvania when he took over as chair of the state.
Okay.
And I had a very good job. I made good money. It was actually a little bit of a pay cut to become a councilman, believe it or not. But for me, it's about the kids. It's about building new schools. It's about giving them activities to be able to do. When I was a kid, we had so many different programs in my neighborhood. I had so many coaches and so many mentors and people that just took the time. And when our ancestors said that it takes a village, they knew what they were talking about. We need to get back to that. We need to help each other, stand together. This climate that we have now with the gun violence and everything like that, we need to get things done. We need to figure out why a 14, 15-year-old kid feels the need to carry a gun.
Yes.
That's a problem. We have to spend more money on behavioral health, for sure. We have a lot of kids. COVID COVID hurt our children.
Yes, they did.
Not being around each other, especially those kids that are now teenagers now that were in that awkward stage of puberty right before the COVID hit, you know, and then they lost their communication skills. They don't know how to talk to each other anymore. And, you know, we have to get better with that as a city. We have to give these kids the
Sheriff Rochelle Bilal. So let's welcome her to the show. Good morning. Good morning. Wonderful, everyone. So thank you for coming through, Sister Rochelle. We greatly appreciate you. We know you're in the middle of election season.
Yes, I am.
Yes, and but not really allegedly. But you know, the Philadelphia Inquirer has endorsed the sheriff's opponent. But meanwhile, they were the first. They came out to say that the sheriff's office should be abolished. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel like a sheriff's office should be abolished, but then you go and turn around and endorse a candidate for the same office that you feel is supposed to be abolished?
That's hypocritical.
So that's all. The point right now that she's making is that possibly could be hypocritical. I think a lot of us, when we think about what's going on, may also think that that's a little hypocritical as well. But as we know, money in politics is a very serious game. And like you said, your opponent is a millionaire. So how do you fight, you know, against a millionaire for your office? The next election is when?
May the 16th.
And we all need to vote why. So our question in this series is, you know, why vote and why now? Can you tell us why we should vote and why now?
It's very important for everybody to get out and vote. You need to vote because there's an element in this city that wants to change the narrative, not in the favor of us. Mm-hmm. They want to change the narrative so that we don't continue to do the work. Me don't continue to overhaul that office to make sure it's more just and more fair. Us to keep us from going in the community. Tracy Gordon from stopping her from educating you on your generational wealth and the fact that you need to get a will. Mm-hmm. There's an element behind it that don't want us. We just started running for these positions. Right. This is the first elected position for a city office that I've ever run for. Mm-hmm. I'm not out there running for sheriff, running for city council, running for DA. Right. A man with millions of dollars. Is the money not enough? Mm-hmm. Here's the other thing, let me say this about him. Mm-hmm. When we had a crisis here, when people needed food, he has millions of dollars. He's never invested any of that money in this city. Mm. You can see him and Google it. Mm. He over in Ukraine giving out food. Oh. Though we feel for the people in Ukraine, but people needed to eat here in this city. Oh. But he wants you to vote for him, but yet he hasn't invested none of those millions of dollars in this city. Oh. None of them.
That is a really good question.
Wait a minute. He might have. When he raised those rates on the parking lots that he owed, that you can't afford to park in. Let's tell the real deal about this. Everybody has an agenda. Yes. They have an agenda, and the agenda is to make sure that people like us are not there. So when they want to take it back to the olden days, that's like saying, take us back to slavery. Oh. When they say that, cold word. That's the cold word.
That is the cold word.
Watch the buzzwords coming in. And let's address the issue that I wanted to raise my salary. That's the biggest problem I have.
Thank you very much.
You got to address that issue.
Okay.
That article letting you how the Inquirer operates, they downplayed the city mishappening. Oh, it's a misunderstanding. No, that article.
In every spectrum across the board. So you have these black people who are already working and people of color, black and brown people who are already in these offices who are already being underpaid simply because of racism in the systems. When you get an opportunity to give a raise.
To give them a raise, and then you give them a raise, and that's a problem.
It's a problem.
So wait a minute. If we move the needle a little bit in reference to people, because the person was making like $34,000 in my office.
Come on.
And they said you had to bring them up to 55.
Yes.
Then you can add equality. Then you can add merit, and then you can add retention.
Right.
And so they got all of that.
Right.
So you got a big
jump. Felt as though they deserved it. The boss felt like they deserved it.
They deserved it because they worked hard. They got a big jump. We cannot negotiate those that are in unions.
Right.
Because the union has to negotiate their salary with the city.
Okay.
But the exempt employees is what I can do. They gave me a category, and that's what we did.
Right, and she is the boss that we elected her to do so. Period. Systematic wage gaps. So listen, we are slowly running out of time with the beloved sheriff, and who is running to be reelected for this position. Which some people who are now running for mayor in the city have said that they will also abolish the sheriff's department. How do you feel about that? Is that hurtful, or do you think it's systematically targeted as well?
You got 3 people. That said it.
Oh.
With purple, good time to talk good music. With purple, good time to talk good music. We full circle.
We are live all over your offs and your TV screens and your smartphones right now with our interview series, our amazing interview series, our premiere interview series, Why Vote, Why Now, right here on PQRadio1.com. I am your host, Saj the Purple Blackwell, you know, and we have our guest joining us today, attorney Damaris Garcia.
Hi, good afternoon.
Welcome.
Good afternoon,
Welcome.
everyone watching.
Yes, absolutely. And automatically, you know, when you say Garcia, you want to talk Spanish, you say, hola, mi gente. ¿Tú hablas español también?
Sí, yo hablo español muy bien, gracias.
Sí, wonderful, wonderful. That means she can have that bilingual ticket popping off. You know what I'm saying? And that's interesting to go right into because as black and brown people in the city of Philadelphia, I would say that the numbers are still outweighing. Like there's more black people who vote than brown people. In particular, you know, people who have a Spanish or Hispanic background. So what do you feel like? You are an attorney, you're running for?
Judge of the Court of Common Pleas of Philadelphia.
Right.
And yes, I am Puerto Rican. I am from North Philly, from the Kensington area.
Okay, say it then. I said say it then.
My roots go from all the way down at Norris Square, 2nd and Diamond, all the way up to 2nd and Allegheny, all around. So Albany, you name it, you know. I still have family there. I'm there. I'm very present in the community. I love my people. And I love this city. I love all the people of this city. And one thing that I keep hearing during this whole process of campaigning is the fact that the Latino vote is needed. My understanding is that there's about anywhere from 16 to 20% of the residents in Philadelphia are Latino.
Yes.
And we need representation. And so I need for all of us, Latinos and everyone, to see that there is a woman that has 20 years of trial experience, that is from here, that understands the people of all the communities across the city, and that is qualified to sit on that bench, and to get out there, register to vote, and vote. Vote for the best candidate. I'm one of them.
Yes, I love it. She came and ran it quick. And that's really important to see. And I say this all the time, especially you know, for black and brown people. If you see it, you can be it.
Yes.
You know, so you are, as you're standing here living and breathing, you are an example of that. We can see it. We can touch it. It can happen. You can be a lawyer.
Yeah.
You can be a lawyer and you can be Hispanic, you can be black, brown, and you can actually go out for 20 years and have experience and then run for judge.
That's true.
You better run for judge.
That's true. And I'll tell you right now, there are no lawyers in my family. I didn't grow up that way.
Mm-hmm.
I just, as a kid, I just had this idea that it would be real cool to be a trial attorney. It'd be in court. I didn't know what a trial attorney was, but
Right.
I want to be that lady in that suit in front of the judge with the jury and doing that. And I stuck with that. I had a passion for that, and I had to find a way to make it happen. And I'm blessed with a mom, a grandmother that both worked hard, a stepfather that loves me and that helped me, guide me to help me figure this out, how I'm going to get to become a trial attorney. And I did that. And I felt the need, after many years of trying cases in our Philadelphia courts, realizing that we need more people that look like all of us across the city. Mm-hmm. Our benches need to be diversified. Our benches need to be culturally sensitive and culturally aware.
Yes.
Our benches need to need some bilingual people. And I'm that person. My goal, though, was to really, become a defender and really right the wrongs of the wrongfully convicted. My goal has always been to help people in need, right? To defend people and to help people get the representation that they need. So as far as I know, no.
Okay.
But reach out to me if there's a problem. Let's fix it.
Let's fix it. Very good, very good. That is wonderful because out there there's a lot of things going on. We hear a lot of things. So We do appreciate your candor and being honest with us in regards to that. But I will say, that I know that this young lady is about helping, and she does a lot of pro bono work, so that's one of the reasons why we're going to have, again, the candidates that are who are running right now. On this show, we brought up those ones who are doing the work.
Yeah.
Who we know are doing the work. So we want to make sure that they have a platform to shine, that they've actually been, boots on the ground in one way or another. And I know for a fact that if you need to call down Democratic Committee and you need some, really somebody to guide you in the right direction, whether they can help you or not, this is the one of the young ladies who will help you.
I will. Yeah.
And that's what's important. We actually need people to do what they say they're going to do, and people be of their word. So that's very important as well. So we want to remind you, first of all, if you have any teenagers out there, and listen, if they are old enough to vote, they need to be voting on May 16th.
Yeah.
They need to be being educated on why they don't want to be in the system. Very point blank. Try to love on them babies, wrap your arms around them as much as you possibly can. This is the Why Vote, Why Now series, where we're talking to wonderful candidates and people like Attorney Damaris Garcia.
Together, being up 6:30 in the morning, closing, and there's minimal issues.
Right.
We have over 1,700 divisions. I mean, it just all work over 800 phone locations, and it works. And it's a strong testament to the citizens of Philadelphia. A lot of times they always talk about commissioners are doing this. Yeah, but if we don't have those people working those polls, we don't have an election. So I always like to thank them for doing work.
Yeah, and we thank you for doing the work that you do, keeping us informed, making sure that our elections are fair, safe, and just. Tell us a little bit about the problems that you faced during the last election, or I guess with Trump. I think that people were actually threatening your families and targeting you. Like, what was that experience like, and why did that happen?
Well, that experience was it was very unique. I'm still really unpacking it, so I'm glad you asked me to really think about it. But when 2020 came, it was the day I got sworn in to City Hall, and by the time I got in, got my city email and everything, it was just tons of threatening emails coming. Okay, we're gonna sue y'all, every sort of thing. Y'all crooks, y'all criminals, and I'm literally, this day one, you walk up to work, they oh, wait a minute.
Wow.
We got Trump's attorneys, they say they're going to do this, they're going to do that. We're like, whoa, wait a minute. So, and a lot of people don't understand that when you get those lawsuits, they still come in your name. So it's still saying Omar Shabir, Lisa Dillon,
right?
You're being sued. It's that's just not. It adds and you be oh wow.
Right, it's a stress level. It actually raises the stress level, some anxiety because you're still a real person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Real people don't want to be brought to somebody to get paid for somebody they going to court.
Yeah, and so then the pandemic hit, and so it was oh wait a minute, the pandemic hit, and then it wasn't related to the pandemic. A lot of people think that it was, but the vote by mail, that was our first year to roll out the vote by mail. So that
2020 was.
Right. That was the first year it was supposed to roll out. It was about 4 or 5 years that the Republicans in Harrisburg was lobbying to get it done. A lot of people don't know that. They was planning on vote by mail because they thought that it gave them
the advantage.
a statistical advantage.
Right.
Because up in the mountains in Pennsylvania in November,
right.
it's different. So they thought, okay, let's do universal vote by mail. This is going to get our people out. And man, you know what I mean? So we was okay. And then they made the change. We didn't get any money from it. So they was well, you on your own. So it's you got to overhaul your whole election system.
Wow.
We're not going to give y'all no money to do it.
Wow, okay.
So, in those smaller counties, probably going to be easier for them to do it. But to do an operation like Philadelphia, be the largest county in the state, I believe they wanted us to fund. And so we was okay, wow. So then we said, okay, city, can you give us some money? City said, well, it's the pandemic. They don't
We're trying to pay for this, we're trying to pay for that.
Guess what? You know what? You on your own, man. It's your job. That's what you said you wanted. I said, oh, wow. So my colleagues and I, we really sat down and said, how are we really going to do this? So we worked out, and we got with a nonpartisan government group that believed in elections and democracy.
Wow.
And we was able to fundraise. We filled out an application. We were able to fundraise and get the other $10 million that we needed. So our budget was 10, but we needed another 10.
10 million?
So we had to get another 100. We had to get 100% of our operating budget.
Ooh.
And in government, that's unheard of.
Wow.
So we got that. you know, we gotta roll it out.
Okay, well, congratulations on getting that done.
Right, so,
Wow.
right, pandemic's still going on. Then, they changed the election date from May, and they pushed it over to June. So that's like all the material that we did, we had to go to,
Wow,
they changed the primary date. So I was like, oh
Wow.
wow, because of the pandemic. Then
Yeah.
on top of that, it was like, okay, wow. Then on that election day, it was 2 days after the George Floyd riot. So we was like,
Alright, what else?
okay.
Dear
so
God, that's when we start praying like, oh my goodness, what else can we do
right, so
here?
it's still going on. We still okay, cool. So we successfully, so like in that summertime, we're going around to Denver, we're going across the country, trying to figure this vote by now thing out. What's the best way? What's the best practices? We finally get the money. So then we buy the equipment. So then it's okay. Where we going to put the equipment at?
Right.
Because again, it's all brand new. We think in our head, we're going to put the equipment in. So we ended up putting everything down to Pennsylvania Convention Center. Now I can't say that, you know, Chairwoman Daly, she had the idea. She said, man, what about the Convention Center? And I said, oh wow, it's not hard to do. I used to work at the Convention Center. It's a
Another new word, we done learned another new word. Election denialism. You better write that down.
yeah, so that's what they believe in. Oh, election denialism.
Yes.
Yeah, one more time.
It's one more time.
That's
That
right.
we love learning new vocabulary words here on the Moment with Purple.
So that's what they believed, and then there was a group that was in Virginia that said, oh, okay, we're gonna come up to Philly and straighten things out. So the FBI intercepted it. So here's where Daniel Outlaw comes into play.
Okay.
So they got intercepted, so they made their way up to Philly. Right? So look, I gotta catch these guys. They're coming up there.
Wow.
And
So
they
like
got-
a real threat.
They're white
basically.
supremacists. and
Wow.
they had the automatic weapons.
Wow.
You know, not the little puny little 32.
Right, they got the AR-15s.
They got every body armor. They got the whole. They got everything.
Wow.
So they're coming up to Philadelphia, to our convention center, to straighten things out, as they
To
said.
straighten things out.
And again,
Wow.
FBI, swift response, they caught it, let Commissioner Daniel Outlaw them know. And then when they got to the city, they intercepted them. And one of the buzzwords, which I
And welcome to a Moment with Purple. Yes, we are popping today. You better know that we have more than enough in knowledge and information sessions for you today. We are here with our interview series, Why Vote, Why Now, on yes, another Moment with Purple, with a wonderful guest today joining us to make sure that you have all the knowledge so that you can have all the power. We have attorney Natasha Taylor Smith joining us today. Welcome, Sister Natasha.
Thank you so much for having me, Purple. I'm so excited to be here today to talk to you, to talk to the listeners,
Yeah.
and to get the information out, okay?
Get the information out. That is what's most important. Not sometimes, but all the time, you know, and that's really what we're all about. That's what we really, when I say that knowledge is power, it's not just a cliche that I like to use, that I like to say because it sounds popular, but it is actual and factual. Knowledge is power.
Without question. Without question.
Period, point blank. So, you know, welcome to the show. Welcome to A Moment with Purple. And so you are running for office. Can you please give us an insight on what and why? Why are you running for office and what are you running for?
Absolutely. So I'm running for the Court of Common Pleas here in Philadelphia County. The Court of Common Pleas is the trial court. It has 4 divisions: the criminal division, the family division, which includes both your domestic relations, so your child support, custody, and divorce.
Okay.
But it also includes our young people, those individuals who have had contacts with the criminal justice system, that's on the delinquency side, and then those individuals who need protection, and that's on the dependency side. All right, and then they have orphans court and then the civil court. You know, when you have those big lawsuits, you know, $12,000 or more, that's going to be in the Court of Common Pleas. And I'm running. I'm from Philly, born and raised, educated in the Philadelphia public school system, so I've been telling people, stop saying that our children can't achieve. Stop saying that our children can't do things when they have the support that they need in our public schools. And I'm running because I've seen so many times, I've been in a courtroom, I've been representing individuals either in custody matters or in criminal matters, and I've seen judges who simply don't care. They don't care about our people, they don't care about what is important to us in our lives, and it's got to change, it's got to stop. So that's why I'm running for the Court of Common Pleas.
Listen, I'm going to believe you when you say that you've seen it, you know, that you've been in these courtrooms, and most of the time the judges, am I right, am I wrong, are not black and brown, period.
That's true. And more than the fact that they're not black and brown, because even, you know, when you have individuals who look like us, you know, my grandmother used to say, all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
I think we know, I think we heard, I think there was a judge named Brinkley or something like that. I don't know, do your research.
You win.
Right.
I'm team you. And so there are a lot of people who either feel like they don't have the support or the resources to go to college, you know, get in the building trades,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
You know, find other things, find out what you're passionate about. Entrepreneurship, okay?
It's really real.
Entrepreneurship.
You're looking at an entrepreneur, right?
Okay? It is real and it's life sustaining, right? People need to understand that our young people, they don't just want to live, they want to thrive.
Right.
Right? They want to
Absolutely.
thrive. And sometimes they just don't know how to do it. They just need individuals to assist them to get to that next level.
Amen. Very, very good. Very, very good. And just a reminder, we are here talking to Natasha Taylor Smith. Your website, just again, tell them where to follow you at.
So my website is natashaforjudge.com, the word for, not the number for. You can follow me on Facebook, Friends of Natasha Taylor Smith, or on Instagram at Natasha Taylor Smith. Yeah, come check me out. I'm ballot number 8.
Yes.
I feel that Philadelphia is ready for judges who have real life experience, who are competent, right? Who are good lawyers. We're good lawyers.
Good lawyers, that part.
Spent time in courtrooms, all right? And then finally, individuals who have a heart and a passion for people, right? You've got to be in this for the right reasons, right? You can't just be in this for yourself. It's got to be people over personal gain.
All hail to the queen, yeah. You know the team, yeah. It's niche time and you're certified on the beat.
Voting, you know, civic engagement, civic education. We're not scared to talk about it. We're not scared to have this conversation in the community, in the black community, you know, to all communities, because you are actually running for
City Council at large.
Okay.
That's right, that's right. And you know, the thing that you have to understand, especially for me, if you've heard me talk, I've been around this whole city just for the past several months, just talking to people, regardless of where their background is, you know, what their affiliation is, just talking to them. And I always tell them, it's about your voice, your choice, our chance.
Okay, I like
That's
it. So say it again.
It's your voice, your choice,
Okay.
and our chance.
All right.
That's it. And as much as we can talk about it, well, they never did this. Listen, I need you to heal.
Okay.
And I need you to give us an opportunity. And if you're not going to participate, well, it's already a failure from the gate.
Right.
That's just what it is.
Exactly.
So, you know, traversing the city, it's like going on 1 million first dates with someone right after that nasty breakup. You're in front of them saying, it's not me, I didn't do it. I didn't do it, it's not me, I'm not them.
That must have been a guy. That's the guy saying it.
You hear that? Listen, we're not going to get into that. That's another conversation. No, ladies too. All day. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it is about healing.
Yes.
It's about giving us a chance. It's also about participating in a way that what you want to see, if you don't see it, you got to be a part of the process to see it. Right? So you're looking at the menu and you're like, you know what? There's nothing on here that I like on this menu.
Right.
So what are you going to do about it?
Yes.
Are you going to sit there, you're going to starve?
Right.
Or are you actually going to do something about it? And that something could be pulling some other people together of like mind and like spirit that are going to say, you know what, you're right, I don't see anything that looks like us or that sounds like us that's actually in the process right now. Okay, so then what are we going to do about it? Let's move forward with, okay, you know what, I think this person amongst us actually represents our interests, our concerns, or in the meantime, we can still assemble as a body and we can still talk to whoever is going to be in office, right? But let's participate in that.
Okay, right. Let's be part of the process.
Yeah.
So tell me this, you know, you are Donovan West from the latest Donovan West, a lot of people know as the president of the African American Chamber of Commerce here in the city of Philadelphia. I mean, we've known you from being an activist and actionist worldwide in some of your efforts in Africa and trying to make change across the world.
Yeah.
So why jump into politics and why now?
You know, here's the thing, the common thread, serving people.
Okay.
That's it. I just want to serve people. It just happens to be at City Hall, right? In City Council. That's what I want to do. So the only thing that's going to change about me is my address. But I've been serving people, as you just now mentioned, shout out to Caribbean Care Collaborative, the things that we do in Jamaica. Shout out to FIRE, Free Inspiration, Reaching Everyone with Emil Akalache, and other organizations that we teamed up to do some things in Ghana. We just did some stuff in December 9th and 10th. We did a business and tech conference in Ghana at the World Trade Center in Accra. Right. And then we went to different sections of Ghana and did some other activations. But at the end of the day, it's about also serving where you live at, right? What's home? And Philly's home.
With purple, good time to talk good music. We full circle. So turn up your box for the best in the.
We are here live on A Moment with Purple, another day of the importance of voting with our Why Vote, Why Now interview series. And today we are joined with our beloved guest, Sister Dr. Nina Ahmad. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, welcome to the show. Welcome to A Moment with Purple. And welcome to a very exciting time in your life.
That's right.
Because you are running for office.
That's correct.
Well, tell us a little bit of, what office are you running for? Why are you running for this office?
I'm running to be one of the 5 Democratic City Council at-large members.
Okay.
The election is May 16th, and my button number is number 66.
Number 66.
And just like Route 66. And I'm running because I think we can make Philadelphia shine. Philadelphia has a lot of promise, but we have some problems along the way that we need to solve. And if we have political will and leadership, we can get there. And we owe it to the children of this city that we need for them to be safe when they go to schools, when they walk on the street. They need to have a house they can call their own, a roof over their heads, food on the table, and an excellent education preparing them for this new millennia. So I am running because I'm grateful to Philadelphia that has given me a home, and I need to pay it forward.
Okay, that is a wonderful thing. And a lot of people tend not to talk about the fact that they're not from Philly, when they run for Philadelphia office. What is the stigma around that, do you think, and why do you feel confident in sharing that?
I think it's because people might not share it because I'm not sure what the reasons are they're here. I'm here because this was a refuge for me. Mm-hmm. I'm here because I came from a war-torn country, and this country took me in. I'm here, and I'm very proud that I've made this my home, and Philadelphia has welcomed me with warm embrace. And for that, I'm thankful. My authentic self makes me tell my story. I can't lie about things and try to pretend to be something else, because that'll come through. Mm-hmm. Not only is God watching, but my children are watching. Okay,
that's really real, right?
Yeah, they keep me on the straight and narrow. And all of this country have been people who've come here, whether you've come willingly or in chains, you've come here, and we have made this our home. Outside of our First Nation people, we are all people who've come from elsewhere.
Absolutely. And then you speak of coming from a war-torn area, and currently, right now, many people in the city of Philadelphia feel like they're living in a war-torn area. So, if you were to be elected, when you were to be elected at City Council at large, how will you address gun violence? It's a serious issue. We are all scared or traumatized daily by gun violence. And, boots on the ground, gun violence prevention groups like myself, Blackwell Cross Alliance, my husband, the work that we do, we're out here, trying to get help at every circle, at every corner, looking for people to actually get involved. So what is your plan? Do you have one?
Absolutely. I think it's a 3-part plan. One is to look at why do we have illegal guns on the street.
Of healing it, holistically, and actually having a scientific approach to it. Do you agree with the forensic, getting new forensic labs and the things like that the DA is currently pushing? Are you in support of the DA?
So tracking it is critical. Collecting data around it is critical. Another piece I want to say about addressing gun violence with the actual people, not just the guns. It has been seen, people who come to the emergency room with a gunshot wound of some sort. Those people, 66% of them are more likely to, recover and go be involved in gun violence again. So we have a sitting group of people that we can address right away in our emergency rooms if we had programs attached right there to make sure they got the help they needed so they would not go out and retaliate. We could stop it right there.
Right.
This gun violence amongst young people is like a virus. It is about getting respect with the barrel of a gun. I've had young people tell me, because I used to have jurisdiction over the Office of Black Male Engagement when I was in the mayor's office, and the goal for that was to change the narrative around black men. There are so many young black men doing good things and we don't hear about that. So we needed to do that. And the second thing was the hopelessness that some young people told me that, I'm not going to live beyond, 21, so I'm just going to get some respect now.
Lord.
That's a failure on our part
Yes.
as adults.
Yes,
So
it is.
for us to change that is to tell them and show them the path. This city is a city where we had Sister Falaka Fatah in the House of Umoja, right?
Right.
She just took people in and tended to them.
Right.
We are the village. We have to tend to our children. We can't send them to schools that are poisonous with asbestos and lead. What is a child thinking when you send them to a decrepit school like that?
Right.
Do we love them?
Do we love
That
them?
is not showing love.
Right.
But we know how to show love because there's some schools that are not like that. So again, there's this discrepancy of how our resources are allocated and how we have to advocate for those with the least.
We definitely do agree. Again, this is Nina Ahmad. Did you tell them where they can follow you at on social media?
Yes, please. You can find me on Facebook, Nina Ahmad for Philadelphia. You can find me on Twitter, Nina Ahmad PHL. You can find me on Instagram, Nina for Philly, and you can find me. What else is left?
Twitter, website. Website probably.
Yes, Nina for Philly is my website. NinaForPhilly.com.
Right. And so, again, she's running for city council at large. The election is May 16th.
Yes.
We have to say it over and over again. We vote every 6 months.
Correct.
Here in Pennsylvania, here in Philadelphia. It's every 6 months. It's not every 4 years.
Yes.
Do not wait that long to vote. Okay?
That's right. I worked through Seth Williams, Kelly Hodge, and Larry Krasner.
Okay.
Larry's who promoted me to the homicide unit.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Starting under Seth, I've given myself the title of team leader because there was no real title given.
Okay.
For resentencing juvenile lifers, and many of your viewers may know this and some may not, but in 2016, the U.S. Supreme Court said we can no longer give mandatory life sentences to juveniles who commit murders,
Wow,
right?
okay.
Well, in fact, they said it before that, but in 2016, they said retroactively we have to resentence all the juvenile lifers.
Wow.
And they've been referred to colloquially by the courts as juveniles
Juvenile.
serving life without parole or
Okay.
juvenile lifers.
Right.
So I worked on those cases under 3 different district attorneys, Seth, Kelly, and Larry.
Okay.
I've heard rumblings, and I will say I see juvenile lifers out on the street now, and they come and talk to me, and many of them, I get letters, I've gotten letters thanking me for the work that I did, but I'm told that there's at least one person from 2016 who was not happy with how their case was handled, and I won't use any names, but what I'll say is this. Under DA Williams and through Kelly Hodge, and that 2016 would have been under Seth. The new law for juveniles who are convicted of murder is that if it's a first-degree murder, it's mandatory 35 years to life. Okay, that's still a very long time.
Yes, it is.
But when we first started these resentencings, my marching orders were that we were not going to make any offers to negotiate a new sentence under that new statute, 35 years to life.
Okay.
There was a particular juvenile lifer who'd been in for about 30 years, who went to a contested hearing. I did my job, as I was told, and I asked for 35 years to life. Now, fortunately, I won't go on here to say whether I agreed with that or not, because I work for other people and I follow those rules.
Yes.
However, that person got what they wanted, which was 30 years to life, because the judge had discretion to not do what I was asking, right? And
right.
to do what they thought was right in that moment.
Mm.
That is the one case that I've been told about that there's rumblings
Right.
folks don't like. I would say that by and large,
Mhm.
I don't think you'll hear that. In fact, I will tell you that the defense attorneys who handled all the juvenile lifer cases have been some of my biggest supporters, because they find me to be, and I'll let them speak for themselves, but to be reasonable, honest, and like not crazy in sentencing. Is that if it's a first degree murder, it's mandatory 35 years.
With purple, good time to talk good music. We full circle.
Good morning. It is another moment with Purple live in studio today. You know what we do. We are here with our Why Vote, Why Now interview series, and we're so excited to be with you another day, another morning to talk about the matters. What matters is that there is an election going on here in Pennsylvania, here in Philadelphia on May 16th, and we need you to be in the know, on the know, and ready to go, all right, early and often. So we know that knowledge is power. We want you to have the knowledge to make the powerful decisions when it comes time to who governs you. Are these like-minded people who govern you? Are these people who, have your same agendas in mind? So all these things are important when we're talking about, elections, government, and we're talking about City Hall, porch to the City Hall politics, not City Hall to the porch. And we want to welcome our guest today, none other than attorney, our beloved Wade Albert. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Purple. I'm so glad to be here.
We are so happy to have you here. And of course, Wade, I believe that you're running for office.
I am. I'm running for judge on the Court of Common Pleas in Philadelphia.
All righty. Now, tell me if you out there, did you know that there's an election going on and it consists more than just the mayor? Right? We were talking about
There is. I mean, there's so many offices that are up for election this year, and it's stuff that impacts people in all kinds of different ways in their life.
Okay, can you tell us what's up for election?
So I hope I get everything because there's so much.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm your back.
Yeah. So we have the mayor, we have city council, district and at large.
Mm-hmm.
We have a sheriff, we have city controller, we have registered wills, and we have judges from every single court in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the Supreme Court, right? The Supreme Court and the Commonwealth.
And Superior.
And Superior, yep. Supreme, and the Common Court of Common Pleas.
Yeah.
So it's going down, and you're running for the Court of Common Pleas, which if you didn't know, you're going to know today that this seat goes in for a 10-year term, yes?
That's right, a 10-year term, yup. And it's a really important seat because it's a court that kind of touches everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So tell us more about why we should elect you, who is currently running for Court of Common Pleas. Now, we have to always keep it real with our people. Also, you are another white man. We have plenty of white men in the judicial seats, across Pennsylvania. Why should we, a person like myself, a person like people who are looking right now, vote for you?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. So I think there's a whole lot that goes into that answer. The first is that, I've been around, I've been helping people. One of the things, it doesn't matter, I think what your race is, what your background is. What matters is that you can connect with the folks who are in front of you and you understand what's happening to them on a daily basis. So for me, one of the things that kind of got me involved in this and made me want to run is that I've done a lot of expungement work over the years, and what that means is that I've helped people clear their criminal records.
Okay.
And I used to work with an organization on a volunteer basis called Unity in the Community, which is Anton Moore and Otis Bullock. And they do some really great things for folks. And they brought me in a few years ago. They said, we need help with some of our expungement clinics.
Okay.
So I did that, and I did that for several years, and I helped probably hundreds of people file and litigate and get their criminal records expunged.
Okay.
And what I think is important about that is that, I'm running because we need judges who understand that what happens in a 20 to 30 minute hearing impacts people, it follows people for the rest of their life in ways that they do not understand. So we need judges who are fair and treat people with
Today, this is the only topic of the day because the election is coming up here in Philadelphia, here in Pennsylvania on May 16th. And today, to talk with us about why vote, why now, is our beloved Dr. Deshawn Williams, a.k.a. Dr. Purple. So listen, baby, you got two Purple queens in the building today, honey. And now let me let you know that I always tell people that there are many purple people in the world. And this is one queen that don't mind sharing her platform with any queen, especially a purple queen.
Yes.
You know, I get super excited. So welcome.
Bow to the original purple queen. I know that's right. That's why I didn't wear purple today, because I know.
Listen.
Never outshine the master queen. That's the
that
queen
is
right
one
here.
of the rules of the 48 laws of power
Never
in that
outshine the
book.
master.
But I've always struggled with that law.
Why?
You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, you know, in my mind, I come from a world of love. I come from a world of giving. And, you know, there's only one master. There's only God. So I'm not a master. You can never outshine me. You know what I'm saying? You're not a master. I can never outshine you when there's only one.
That's true.
There's no competition. Because I'm never going to be in competition with God. You know? So that's my
right.
thinking in it. Although it's, it's layered. So.
Right, it is layered.
But I do respect the 48 Laws of Power. I love that book. That's something that shows me that you have a mind.
Oh yeah,
a thinking mind.
I love that book. I've learned a lot in that book. Many laws I respect, which is one of the laws is preach the need for change, but never reform all at once.
And she said again, say it one more time.
Preach the need for change and never reform all at once. And I think that's the crux of where we going into now. We need to preach change.
We need to preach change. You know my motto, real change, not now, but right now.
Right now.
Okay?
Right now change.
But that is exactly why we're here today. Vote, why vote, and why now? And again, I said this is Dr. Deshawn Williams, she's joining us, but she's also running for.
Yes, I like to say I'm putting my hat in the race. For city council, because Purple. I've been running since I was 12 years old. Honestly, as a declarated track and field. Track star runner. I've been running for a long time. Right now, I'm putting my hat in the race because I think it's an opportunity to do something different.
Okay.
In which I say, let's do something different and let's do it together.
Okay.
This is an opportunity to be able to step in because I've already stepped up. To do the work in the streets, but it's an opportunity for me to step in and show my skill sets because they are transferable.
Okay, so she says that she has transferable skill sets.
Yes.
So this is why you feel like we should vote for you because you have the skill sets to govern, to make policy. Is that correct?
Well, you know what? I want you to vote for me because you believe that you want somebody in city council who understands the language.
Okay.
And the language is the language of anger, hurt, pain, disappointment. You understand somebody in city council that can relate to you and really get it. A lot of times we put people in office that don't get it.
Okay.
We're putting people in office that we don't even get. What we do get is a form or a little ticket that they have us to slide in on voting day. That's why I tell people, do your homework, do your research. Right. Question the questions, right? Ask the questions. Why should I vote for this person? We should vote for this person because they've done the work. They have the lived experience.
Right.
On top of the skill sets. You want competent, articulate people who are full of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And primarily you want people that have insight.
Right. Okay.
You don't want the blind leading the blind.
Hey, to the man.
And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to those who have who are blind, but that's a saying that says that you want people that have the ability to lead you down a path that's going to show you what is and what isn't.
Right, and we definitely understand that. Now, you are, in a room of, actionism. I do not call myself an activist. We call ourselves actionists, and in the actionist world, we definitely look at, like I said, the work and what work you've done. So what can you share with our people, like what work have you done? We're big on gun violence. We feel like we're living in an unsafe city right now, and we want to see change, and not now change, but right now change. Where are your mindsets? What are your ideas? What are your policies you're thinking of?
So I've done a plethora of things, and it depends on what hat I'm wearing, right? That's why I said I put my hat in the race for city council. As first and foremost, as a pastor in the community, I pastor people in Nicetown who have dealt with mental health challenges, who have dealt with trauma and grief, who have dealt with domestic violence and gun violence. I funeralized, I preached. 20 of my classmates right, that died. That I went from the playground to the burial grounds, right? I played in Stetton Park with these people. I played in the mini park. I played in the Still School playground. I played with them and then had to preach their funerals at my church at Germantown and Cayuga, New Inspirational Baptist Church, and then to get in a funeral car and ride either over to Washington Lane or Erie Ave or on Lehigh Avenue and see them be put in the ground.
Right.
So that piece of me doing the work, and then as a social worker, I've worked with people throughout the city of Philadelphia where I've worked with single fathers who was on the brink of losing his 3 children because he couldn't afford housing.
That's a reality.
Right? Because he couldn't afford housing, and having to be able to find a job because I'm advocating not for $15 an hour, I'm advocating for $20 to $25 an hour because $15 minimum is just that minimum. You can't live in Philadelphia off of $15 an hour.
Barely the minimum.
Exactly. So I've done a lot of work as a grief counselor at an agency that I work for, EMIR, Every Murder's Real Healing Center. I counsel children and youth as young as 3 years old all the way up to 18.
So again, if you're just tuning in, we are currently talking to Brother Will Braidman, who is running for judge of city for a court of common pleas, which means that if elected, he will go in for 10 years. And we're talking about mental health, mental illness, and mental health in regards to like a Walter Wallace. So we want to say, call the mobile unit, call these people. But like when Walter Wallace was shot by the police in 2020, when that was going on, and the family had many times called mobile crisis, they many times called the police, they've done these things. When it's like that, and then, it's like that and someone's charging around with a weapon, how would you have, what is your advice to somebody in a Walter Wallace situation?
Well, I mean, first let me say what a tragic situation that was, and it sounds like the family followed a lot of what I had said, right. And I don't have answers for everything that a family in that position should do other than to kind of follow what I said, and it sounds like they did what they could and things escalated, and it's just, my heart goes out to that family. But unfortunately, I don't have answers to that specific situation. They did what they could to make the person, Mr. Wallace, get treatment. I don't want to second guess anything that family did and make them feel any sadder about they could have done this, that, or the other thing. It's just a sad
let's
situation.
answer it in this way. And thank you. The young lady says that that was around the corner from her house, and she will never forget the screams and cries of the mother. So those officers, although the mother was screaming and crying not to shoot her baby, then still went ahead and shot him. Are these the types of cases that will come in front of you?
No, those are not the types of cases that come in front of me. The types of cases that come in front of me sometimes do involve the police, but when you're talking about someone who is unfortunately and tragically killed, so that person wouldn't then get it before me because they've unfortunately been killed, so right. I wouldn't see that. The kinds of cases that come before me would be someone who's still alive and in need of treatment. Okay. And that case... so
the cop shot and the person was shot, but they didn't die, but they're still alive.
Yeah, in theory that could come before me. It never has.
Well, if you're elected to be judge.
Oh, if I'm elected to be judge, it's possible that could come before me either in the civil or criminal context. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That is possible.
Right, and then how do you feel like, are you prepared to handle a situation like that? Do you feel like as judge you're going to be able to be fair, equal, just, like those words, equity, will they exist in your courtroom when it comes to cops maybe, prematurely shooting people and killing people lethally with their weapons? Like, give me something. What do you think?
Yeah, well, anytime someone has been killed, it is a very grave situation. And, people, whether they're white, black or brown, whatever the color of their skin may be, whatever gender they may be, they all have the right to equal treatment, and if you're talking about a shooting, or, there was a study that was done on police response time, or that showed unequal response times. It's a very unfortunate situation in our city, and certainly as a judge, I don't have the authority to control response times around the city.
Right.
But I can certainly listen to the individual facts of the case, try to be fair to both sides, try to listen. A jury would probably at the end of the day make a decision on that case, and I would try to keep the playing field even. The analogy that I make is to umpires calling balls and strikes.
Okay.
There's a lane within which judges really have to stay. But let me kind of answer your question more specifically by saying that no one deserves to be killed because of the color of their skin.
Right. Or their mental health.
Or their mental health.
Good morning. Yes, we are here at A Moment with Purple, another episode of our interview series, Why Vote, Why Now? It is important to know that we have an election coming up, people. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, May 16th. The date is fastly approaching so quickly, and we need to be in the know. And today we are so happy to have our guest join us today. Attorney Barbara Thompson is here. If I give her a applause.
Here today, thank you.
Absolutely, welcome, indeed welcome. So listen, we are here because it is time to vote, and we want to get the information and the right information out at all times. So you are running for?
Municipal court judge.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a very big deal. A little bit different than what we've had up here so far. We've had our different people running for common pleas, city council at large,
right.
And to register wills, the sheriff. I mean, we've had a few wonderful guests.
Yeah.
But we are so happy today to have you here. And let's say hi to the people on social media over here.
This way?
No, you this way. We're going to look here, then we're going to sometimes look here.
I don't know.
We're going to look here, we're going to look up there, as we're, communicating to everybody. And then we have a third camera as well. So it's a lot of work over here.
Okay.
We are not playing any games when it comes to getting this information out to the
Excellent.
people. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're running for office, but who are you now and what do you do now?
Well, I'm Barbara Thompson, and I'm an attorney. And I've been working for 35 years. I've been working on projects in the most recent years with the City of Philadelphia, with the Office of Homeless Services, opening up the Philadelphia Hub of Hope, which is a homeless day center, down underneath City Hall, the Philadelphia City ID card, and I work at the Welcome Center for the asylum seekers who are coming from El Paso, Texas on the buses.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm also an attorney who does pro bono criminal work in municipal court as well as landlord-tenant.
Wow.
Yeah.
So those are very interesting categories, the work that you're currently already doing.
Yeah.
And with you saying that you work landlord-tenant, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is recently in the news in the city of Philadelphia, there was a landlord-tenant eviction happening, and a young lady was being served by, we believe, a warrant officer. I'm not sure what they're exactly called,
Right.
but she was shot in the head in the process.
Well, that's not the kind of eviction notices I like to work with.
Right,
That's
right.
not right.
Right.
That's just not right. That's a murder.
That is, and
Yeah.
unfortunately she did live, but what do you say to the process of, the eviction process, landlord-tenant agreements, and that is a really hot button issue right now because a lot of people are feeling like, one, there shouldn't be anyone other than, I guess, maybe the sheriff's office coming to serve you eviction notices or actually handle evictions, but there are other arms here. Can you tell us about it?
Well, what happens is often the notices come directly from the landlord, that they're gonna say, we're gonna evict you, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And they scare the tenant.
Right.
And that's usually scares the tenant into action.
Okay.
Yeah, and then as far as who shot, who did that is illegal. That just should never happen.
Okay. So when a warrant or an eviction is being served for someone,
Yeah.
you know, in a landlord tenant, what are the steps before we get to that point?
Well,
Do you know?
there should be discussion. There should be discussion between the landlord and the tenant as far as, well, what's going on? Are they serving them because the person is not getting services in that apartment? Does the person have electricity? Is it infested? Are there other issues going on? Or is it a small landlord and the person's just not paying the rent? You know, and there have been a lot of people who've had to deal with COVID. They lost their jobs.
Right.
So goes both ways.
Okay.
And I'm very sensitive to the small landlord and to the tenant.
Right, and because especially when it comes to the tenant, you're right. They get scared immediately. I mean, even though you may know that you have not been paying your rent or you weren't able to pay your rent, there's still that anxiety and knowing that you need to find somewhere to go.
Right.
And in today's society, where Philadelphia is, totally priced out, very much gentrified, there is almost a laughable statement of affordable housing in Philadelphia, and the affordable housing that may be still out there is unavailable.
Right.
What do you do when you're faced with, having to move and not having the money to pay? Are there any services available to people?
Well, yeah, there are some, but I'm not as good at those services as making sure that the landlord or the tenant rather is protected as the person served. Make sure that their rights are being protected.
Okay.
That's what I've been doing as an attorney.
Okay, well that's pretty down to it, right? We definitely love that. So tell me, as you are now running for municipal court judge, right? What will your role be? Will these types of cases come in front of you? What will you be handling?
Yeah, those kind of cases would come in front of me, and I would be there hearing, well, what's the real situation going on? Is the person there because there's some bigger issue going on, or is it just a person not paying the rent and trying to get by? Is it a large landlord who scammed somebody? I had a situation recently where somebody was scammed. They went in, they had their rent